All right, I get to be the first shooter on the first stage. Woo, okay. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and this is Finnish Brutality 2025, Fire and Ice. This is the first actual full-scale winter brutality match. This is put on by Varusteleka, of course. They are the premier military and outdoor goods supplier operating out of Finland, and they've been doing Finnish Brutality since 2018. We tried to have a winter match in 2021. It turned into a sort of exhibition only because of COVID, but now we have a proper winter match. We don't really have a proper amount of snow. There's a little bit, but it was nice and cold, well below freezing out here, and we had a really good experience. So, being a winter match, we're going to start with a stage on skis. Proper kind of janky Finnish cheapo military issue skis. And there are three main shooting positions here. You have to hit a pair of targets down at, what starts at 150 meter range. First off, you have to be skiing in military, like might encounter enemy troops mode, which means both poles in one hand and your rifle in your strong hand. The first shooting position, you have to use your poles as a bipod, which I did. Almost falling down here. I skied like 25 years ago and haven't really done much of it since. Second shooting position here, you have to use your poles as a monopod, and then the third position will be freestyle. By the way, the rifle that I'm using here is my original What Would Stoner Do rifle. It's a 14.5-inch Faxon pencil barrel on a KP15 polymer lower. I knew that I would be shooting off of skis, and I wanted the lightest, handiest thing that I could possibly get. The optic is a Aimpoint Acro P2. It is on one of the new Spuhr mounts that has a flip-down magnifier, 3-power magnifier. I really like that mount. It is lightweight, it is handy, and it worked really well for me through the entire match. So a couple things here, aside from almost falling down again. All penalties in brutality matches are 60 seconds, and that includes leaving magazines behind. You have to retain your magazines. Also includes missing targets. If you hit the 180 par time, 180 second par time on the stage, and you have not hit all the targets, everything that remains unhit is a 60-second penalty per target not hit. So, we also have what we call a high-value shot. I'm going to go ahead and use the poles as a monopod here. A high-value shot means in order to both render the gun definitively empty and unloaded from movement, as I've been doing on the previous shooting spots, and also to bring a little more stress to a shot, you take the magazine out and you only have one round to make a hit. And of course, if you miss, that's a 60-second penalty. So I just barely pulled this one off. My shooting here was terrible.
Good job. Whew. Time 178. That was intense. Oh, all right. Oh, that was close.
Next up, shooting from an ATV.
Do you have any questions?
I mean, many, but I don't think any of them are really relevant. Had there been a bit more snow on the ground, this was going to be a snowmobile, but an ATV is pretty darn fun as it is. Here we have three targets. You have to hit each of them and then make a high-value shot. Now, contrary to what I just told you, in this case, the high-value shot is actually a 5-second bonus. So a lot of people just winged off that shot without caring if they made it, because if you want to look at this from a score-based gaming perspective, if you take more than 5 seconds to make a hit that's worth a 5-second bonus, then you've actually cost yourself time. In between, we are removing magazine, of course, so I have to reseat the mag, and I need to give it a nice smack to get it properly seated with, under a closed bolt. So there's my second high-value shot. We've got three shooting positions here that we're going to shoot from the ATV and then pull all the way around to the starting point and do it one more time. I'm sorry, 4 shooting positions and then pull around and do it one more time. This was a lot of fun. I've done very little driving of an ATV. In fact, the only other time I've driven an ATV was at the Czech combat match in last summer. So, yeah, a lot of fun here. Having a really lightweight carbine was really nice for this. It was easy to just drop that thing on the sling when I'm not using it. The red dot magnifier combo worked really well for me. I was using the magnifier here, not because the targets were very far away, which they weren't, but because the targets tend to be dirt colored after they get hit a bunch. We don't repaint targets at these matches, and so that becomes the challenge of a relatively small target that is pretty well camouflaged against his backdrop. So once I make that last set, I have, of course, unloaded the gun one more time. I'm then going to drive back through the tires, loop this guy around to where I start. It looks like I'm going awfully slow here. It felt reasonably fast when I was on it, and the ground is total ice, so if you try and rev this thing up, you're going to spin it out and not actually go anywhere. This whole match this year was a little bit more experiential, fun sorts of stages, and the shooting challenges were a little bit easier. The physical challenges were a little bit easier than what we've had in previous years, which made for a really fun match. I pulled this one off not too bad. 30th place out of 200, so can't complain about that.
How fun was that?
That was pretty fun. I was a little concerned at first, like, fun always takes second priority to, like, make sure you complete the stage, don't time out, don't make yourself look like a complete idiot. But that was fun. Yeah. Moving into stage 3, I got you, brother. This is our medical stage for this match. We're gonna have to, this is just another really cool one. We've got some really good props here, some cool barricades. Engage a set of targets. They're fairly close. This is only about a 50 or 75 meter range on this particular one. Just hit each of the targets twice. There's 3 of them out there, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you have to drag the fairly heavy drag dummy back to your position while remaining behind cover, and then perform some immediate first aid. In this case, it is a tourniquet applied to the other dummy. This guy actually has fake blood. When the tourniquet is tight enough, he will stop bleeding. Although when I did this, honestly, I completely lost track of the fake blood. I just tightened that tourniquet down as much as I could get it. This last, yeah, hand slipped a little bit there. This last one was really quite tight. That was pretty secure there. Then we're going to hit the targets again, provide some more covering fire there. Again, this is a fun stage. We got some practical skills that you have to show on it, both the shooting and the tourniquet, and also then move up range to the next position, slide into place, and hit the plate rack. Not plate rack. Hit the set of targets one more time, and conclude with a high value shot. So the gun is already unloaded when you finish. And that's another stage where I actually did pretty darn well. I felt like on a lot of these, I didn't go all that fast, but I didn't mess anything up totally. Well, I shouldn't say that. This was stage 4 here, was a sort of semi-blind stage of, we knew we were going to be shooting from a barricade. You only have one shot from the barricade to make a hit. And if you don't make the hit, you have to go to the far left side of the range and hit the target from the penalty box, which we'll do here in a moment. The challenge on this target was, first off, we didn't have any idea what the barricade ports were going to look like going in, and that barricade was really close to the armored vehicle here, the 8x8 Patria, and a lot of people with big rifles had trouble squeezing their guns into that little position. So I made the penalty hit in one shot, which is great, and now I come to the far right side. You can just barely see it there. There are 5 poppers on the range, and I have one shot to hit a popper, and if I miss, well, I just continue and carry on. So I now go back to the barricade. I shoot from the second port, which I make a miss again, and then there we go, make a penalty hit. Now I can go knock down a popper. This stage repeats this sequence of barricade and popper with penalties in between as necessary until you knock down all 5 poppers. So the third port here seemed like it ought to be easier because it's fairly tall, but I have a quite tall optics mount on this rifle, and I managed to miss it once again. I got rid of the magnifier on this stage. One of the cool things about that Spuhr mount is you can just quick detach the magnifier if you don't need it. I got rid of it because I knew the magnifier and its eye box were going to be a problem on a tight barricade. However, I did no practicing with this very tall overbore red dot before the match, and I was trying some clever holds to make hits, which, as you can see here, never actually really worked. Fortunately, I was able to make every one of the penalty hits on the very first try. So I have to do a bunch of extra running back and forth, but that doesn't ultimately prevent me from pulling this one off within the time limit. So this is now my 5th shot. In theory, this would be the last barricade shot required, and I actually managed to hit that one, which means I can go directly back to the box here and hit the last popper. I go kneeling because I want to make a really good shot on this because I really don't want to miss it. And there we go. So because of all those penalties, I was still pretty low in the scores.
Sitting on the bench.
Yeah, next to that thing.
Okay.
And starting position. Shooter ready.
Yes.
Stand by.
So yes, we are shooting this from a big bucket of essentially ice water. It's like 38 degrees, probably just a little bit over freezing. And this stage used a stage gun, which was a Sacco direct impingement AR-15. This is the rifle pattern that is going to become the new Finnish service rifle in not exactly this form, but some form coming up fairly soon. So very cool. Big thanks to the MPK, Finnish training organization, for providing these stage rifles to use for the match. Now, aside from being very cold, the trick to shooting from this thing is that you have to move side to side. There are 10 targets you have to hit. Well, there are 5 targets, sorry. You have to hit them left to right in order, and the middle one is a little small gong. So you have to keep shooting at that until you hit it. You only have 12 rounds in the gun, and you have to make 10 hits. I started off really badly here with a couple of misses early on. So I am going to end up making 1 miss on this stage because I run out of ammunition, which is kind of the point. Now, once you're finished, you hand the rifle back to the RO, you get out, and you change your clothes. You could do this in softcore mode by using a sauna tent and getting comfortable, or you could do it in hardcore mode, which is what I chose to do.
1 miss.
Yeah, thank you. What have we in here to wear?
Wait, where is his plastic bag?
That looks comfy.
I'll be fine on the ground for a second. I'm not sure.
So explain to the viewers now, what are you supposed to be doing next?
Okay, so I am doing this in hardcore mode, which means after I get out of the water, I have to change my clothes, change into warm clothes here, outside, then make fire, and heat up a cup of water to not die. That.
What is the key to make a good fire quickly?
Find a Finn to do it for you. Don't get someone who lives in the desert to do it. But the keys, as I understand them, are essentially to go in increasing order of size with your burnable material. So I want to start with some really fine shavings and powder. That'll be the easiest thing to ignite. Now I need to make some feathery sticks, which I am no good at.
Very nice.
Who's that, James?
Enes sí, modelo. Ja.
Here, we're off in.
Svoj ta se partnera to dali. Ko? To za užgat.
It's a fire, but it's a very ugly fire. You know what? Screw you. You're a very ugly man. I'm sorry, that was hurtful. I shouldn't have said possibly the worst fire ever made in Finland, ever.
It all comes down to ashes eventually.
My excuse, such as it is that I live in the desert, and normally my problem is avoiding heat, not creating heat.
So there you go, guys. That is Finnish Brutality Day 1, 2025. Huge thanks to Varusteleka for arranging this match, for bringing a bunch of us over to participate in it. It was a tremendously great time. Tons of camaraderie. It really is. This was definitely in the top couple of matches, if not the top match that I've ever had the pleasure of shooting. So stick around. I will have 5 more stages from Day 2 coming up tomorrow. Thanks for watching.